If you woke up in the hospital after a car accident put you in a coma, only to discover the hospital is staffed by terrifying faceless demons, what would you do? Sam is a tech entrepreneur with a loving and supporting wife, currently pregnant with their firstborn child. His workaholic habits cause him to wind up on the receiving end of a drunk driver's pickup truck. However, what awaits him in the hospital is far worse of a nightmare. I'm going to break down the mistakes made, what you should do, and how to beat the faceless hospital staff in disquiet. We start out following Sam, a loving father and husband who gets himself into a nasty car crash. We're not given much info yet at this point, but we can see from how he's being carried into the hospital, he probably suffered some pretty serious injuries, as well as a concussion. He's probably gonna need some serious medical attention, but judging by how he's still pretty much all there and conscious, I'd say his odds are about 50-50. We cut to black as Sam is wheeled into the OR. Sam wakes up in the hospital from a coma. He pulls out his breathing tube, which I generally say is a terrible idea, and is immediately treated to some 28 days later with the seemingly empty hospital. He's clearly suffered a head injury. Before he can even think of his next move, the old patient next to him suddenly attacks him and tries to choke him out. Nice. Welcome back to the land of the living. Here's Budget Saruman in a violent, demented fit of rage as your welcome gift. Seriously, either they knowingly left an old geezer with violent tendencies next to your comatose body the entire time, or something's off here. He manages to push him off just before it looks like he'll be going night-night from the choking, and gives him the hospital sanitized equivalent of the toilet tank lid to the cranial. That's what you get, Saruman. Now go back to Isengard. Sam screams for help in the hallway, and somehow there's like zero medical staff around, nor anyone responding to what is a super loud altercation between two patients in what I suppose is the ICU, meaning there should certainly be people around. After pinning him down, and Sam miraculously not needing a teammate to get the hunter off, he fights him off using everything near him, as you should. But Saruman's been here a while, and he's gotten lonely, so he's not taking no for an answer. Sam is going to be his prison wife, like it or not. At the last second, just before his back door suffers horrendous damage, he manages to stick Saruman with the scalpel left conveniently in front of him, and immediately finishes his kill, because Sam here watched a ton of Nerd Explains and knows that by now he would have received help if there was any available. Seriously though, wouldn't it be so awkward if the whole security team and nurses show up just now, after you brutally shanked this guy to death with a scalpel? Oh well, at least there's cameras, so you can argue it was self-defense. Maybe minus the part where you repeatedly scream, "Die, die," though. Just a thought.
Anybody! Help!
He screams for help, and it definitely gives off a weird vibe. I've been in hospitals at pretty much every possible time of the day, and I can guarantee you they would never, not once, leave you alone like this. But if you really want to be sure, now is when you haul back to your hospital bed and use the big button to page the nurses. If then nobody shows up, yeah, well, that's probably where I'd be getting my 28 days later on too. There's no signs of struggle in the hospital, nothing that really suggests anything could be this wrong. But that shouldn't be the biggest sign of comfort either. What if something awful did happen, but the majority of people managed to evacuate? Sam could have just been left due to the fact that he was in a coma, a la Rick Grimes, for all we know. Where's the corpse though? Maybe my memory's off, but I'm pretty sure you left a perfectly good and dead wizard lying right there in the corridor. Even weirder, the scalpel and other medical instruments are back where they previously were, but there is a pool of blood on the floor. He walks past another hospital room and sees the old man there, seemingly still in a coma with his throat unslashed. Yeah, excuse me, nurse. Do you happen to know where my old wizard guy is? Yeah, looks kind of like the one you got here, except mine has several deep stab wounds in it. Thanks. He checks his phone, and of course, there's no service. I don't know. At this point, I'd feel confused as maybe the head injury is making us see but then why would we be covered in blood? Also, the old man's been re-intubated. There's no way, even if he survived, that he did that all to himself. There's definitely some fuckery afoot. He keeps his eyes on Saruman the whole time while he gets changed. Dude, I would too. It's too early to call supernatural evil, but this would definitely feel like a setup. He finally runs into some actual assistance, and great, it's one single lone nurse. I sure as hope you guys don't ever get medical emergencies in this ICU. Seems you're a tad understaffed.
I was attacked.
By who?
By him.
Okay, this. Either we're seriously losing it, or something's up. See, the problem I'd have in this situation is that I'd trust my own instincts far too hard, which makes sense considering what I do for work. This would either save me if I'm right, or end really, really badly if I'm just slashing up people due to hallucinations caused by a head injury. But I think I'd take my chances here. This would be far too vivid a hallucination to just happen. What about the blood on his gown? I'd show that to Nurse Betty here and ask her to explain that. It was initially still there when Saruman teleported back to his bed. It only stands to reason it would still be there moments later, before he can realize the old man's gone. The nurse is too. Right about now is when I would seriously start questioning if I'm losing my grip on reality, or if we're just about to be in some deep no way. Yup, that sounds about right. He bolts down toward the elevator, trying to keep it together. For f***'s sake, man, don't turn your back to exposed and empty hallways. Take a couple steps back in case Saruman's in the elevator, but not enough that you can't quickly jump in if he's not. Resting your head against it is just asking to be grabbed by someone from the elevator, or to be attacked from behind, or both. Yeah, kind of like that. Saruman sprints toward him. As is usual, he makes it behind closed elevator doors with seconds to spare. How lucky. And totally not unlikely to happen in real life. He falls back first into the elevator, which luckily for him, wasn't used to ambush him, except it stops. Oh no. One of the ceiling panes just above him gets knocked loose, revealing Saruman is still on his tail. Did we agree to date him and then ghost him due to the coma or something? Sam does the wise thing here. He grabs a suitable weapon from nearby, but luckily, Saruman leaves him alone. For now. Cut back to the accident. Sam's looking rough. From the first responders, we understand the other drivers died in the crash, and that he was intoxicated. We haven't been given much to go off of, but it is possible our protagonist is an awful person that's done awful things, causing someone to be out for his life. There definitely seems to be some symbolic implication with two first responders talking to him from two different windows, one a cop, one a paramedic. Now, everything we've experienced so far is straight up movie level. Let's be real. In real life, the character has seen so many movies throughout his life, maybe even some Nerd Explains, and he's well aware something is off, and it currently looks like something supernatural is messing with him, especially judging by how Saruman was clawing his way into the elevator from the shaft with seemingly superhuman strength.
Anything to look beautiful.
We cut to our second protagonist, Monica, getting ready for some cosmetic surgery, saying anything to look beautiful. And something tells me if this is the same hospital, you're in for a bad time. See, Monica's all about altering her appearance in any way she wants. She proudly tells her surgeon there's only one thing left after she gets her chest done. The surgeon creepily says, "Oh, I'm gonna make you more beautiful." Like, that isn't the weirdest thing ever to say, in that tone especially, to someone who you're about to put to sleep. As we'll find out later though, this guy has a lot of notches on his belt. That's all I'll say. They put her to sleep for the procedure, as is normal. Except she suddenly sees that the medical staff that was treating her just moments ago are now faceless monsters, moments before she loses consciousness. She wakes up with nothing really have changed around her. The medical staff all vanished, similar to Sam's case. She removes the mask that they used to put her to sleep before it goes from 0 to 60 really fast. Before she can think about anything, she's suddenly grabbed and held down on all sides by what appears to be horrifically scarred cosmetic surgery patients. Only something's really wrong with them. They kind of look like zombies. Sam hears her screaming down the hallway and decides to hop back up from PTSD land to help her. As he strolls in and tells everyone to reach for the sky, the patients who were about to play a game of real-life surgeon with Monica don't seem all that impressed.
Don't come near me. I mean it!
Bimbo number 1 calls his bluff and pretty much makes him her bitch instantly with the scalpel, only to immediately stop giving a damn about protecting her face half a millisecond later.
Don't you come near me.
Yeah, dude, we saw how seriously they took your first threat. Let's face it, you're clearly not that guy, and they know it. Monica tries to hide in a corner, lending some credibility to the myths around Botox leaking into your brains, before Sam tells her to run. Can't say I disagree. Theoretically, the play here is just to break contact as fast as possible, run to a better, more easily fortifiable room and barricade it for now. At least to get her bearings straight. Swap stories of how we both ended up here. Tried to work out where to go from there. Sure, the first bimbo went down easily, but something should be telling you by now that it's likely something similar to your very own Saruman experience, and that they will just keep coming no matter what you do. A barricade may therefore also not do but it's worth a try at least, and sure as beats fighting yourself to exhaustion repeatedly versus adversaries that clearly do not back down. Sam seems to have some kind of telepathic connection with me, as this is exactly what they do. After some obligatory talk, even barricading the door to the room that they were just in to slow their attackers. This guy is definitely a Nerd Explained subscriber. 10 out of 10. Except he then stares at them through the barricaded door and immediately makes me question his intelligence again. This is the part where you run, you f***ing idiot. Sam correctly calls out that Monica is the first real person he's seen. Now we know that, but he would still be totally right if he felt skeptical. After all, there's some mind at play here. But given that she was also a victim, I do think that she is, in fact, another person trapped in here just like Sam. They try to talk for a second and figure out what's actually going on. Now, in general, I do agree with doing this, but like I said, Sam, you know these things are going to keep coming. I'd have this discussion while making our way to the nearest emergency exit, or one of those floor plans explaining where you are in the hospital, to see if there's a way out of here. They figure out that they both went into surgery of some kind and were put to sleep before awakening here. So what could it be? I'm guessing, assuming we're Sam, we're aware of common horror movie themes. I'm therefore going with one of the three options. Some Saw type wherein someone with an axe to grind with us wants us dead. Someone has kidnapped us for some kind of experiment, human or the alien variety. Or we're in some kind of hospital purgatory level and we're already dead.
You really haven't seen anyone else?
Not exactly.
Sam tells Monica that they're not exactly alone, basically explaining that it's them against, well, something very, very OP. Monica wants to get to the elevator, and Sam gets a little too aggressive in pointing out that it is a bad idea because Saruman will attack them. Here's a crazy idea. If you're already stopping to talk all this out, maybe just tell her exactly the details of your altercation, including that Saruman resurrected from the dead, teleported, and that he had the mountain's muscle, and that he was literally ripping off ceiling panels with his bare hands in the elevator. I know it's likely going to freak her the out, but what do you stand to gain by not laying bare the full scope of what we're up against? If you don't give her all the info, she's useless to you because she's underprepared for Saruman reviving if you have to fight him again, which is highly likely. Giving her nothing more than, trust me bro, we gotta keep moving, they agree to GTFO some other way. Presuming that this hospital functions like any other, I would suggest the security office. Not only is there some chance of finding useful items there, maybe even some non-lethal weaponry, but there should likely be plans and information about the facility there, maybe even some way to contact the outside world. In any case, finding something to arm up with should be a priority at this point. The one thing that's certain more than anything else right now, that you can be sure about is that you're going to be fighting Saruman and the bimbos at least one more time. The fact that you're strolling through the hallway without any problem means you've kept them at bay successfully for a moment, something which you will regret not appreciating more. Use that time to grab literally anything, even if it's just a load of scalpels to use as throwing knives and or shanks from the nurse's station. Literally anything. Ideally, you'd be able to manufacture some ranged weapons from some of the scalpels, as range equals safety. They check the phones, and of course, those are dead. But they do immediately check the floor plan to figure out the best way out of this mess.
It's a zombie apocalypse, isn't it?
Now that is an accurately written character right there, and pretty much exactly where my mind would be now too. However, Sam points out that Saruman basically teleported, came back to life, hooked himself up and off machines, basically telling her about his superpowers like I initially suggested. Better late than never, knowing the threat at hand is so underrated.
When I stabbed the coma man in the head, he came back to life.
When we see the floor plan, we notice that there's 9 floors. Sam and Monica are currently on the 7th floor, with roof access being just 2 floors above them. This presents us with a choice. We can try going for the roof, since we're relatively close, and see if we can flag anybody down. However, before that, to avoid wasting time just in case, I would look out the windows. I'm not sure what we would see, but it's likely that it might at the very least clue us in. At the very least, this would allow us to get an accurate reading for the situation, based on what we can see around the hospital. If it looks like the parking lot from the Mall of Dawn of the Dead, then we know what's up. If, however, there's people walking around down there, we can ask them to call 911 and get us the fuck out of here. Though I somewhat doubt that'll be the case. The alternative is making it down to the lobby and trying to get out through the main entrance. With some luck, there will be other employees there, or maybe a security guard who can help us out. But again, we still have no clue what we're actually up against.
As tempting as that offer sounds, I'm married, and I really don't want to get back to my wife.
Monica basically tells Sam she'll do anything with him if he gets her out of this. But our Chad here is loyal to his wife and kids. It's good to know she's got the will to live though. They hear another voice calling out, and Sam goes to check it out. Monica actually tries to stop him. I'm loving this chick already. She clearly knows that she is in a horror movie and knows the horror movie cliches. We meet our next character, Carter. He woke up handcuffed to his hospital bed, saying that he'd been shot and brought in before waking up like this. So that is now 3 people that have gone into the hospital normally, gone under for surgery, and woken up in here. Considering it really feels and sounds like these people are spawning into the hospital, I'm guessing this is some supernatural purgatory where if we die in here, we die in real life. That also implies if we beat whatever the task at hand is, we probably make it back to the land of the living. I'd still need a little bit more convincing, but that does truly sound like what's happening here. Great. Now all we need to do is figure out what the task is.
A cop?
No, we are not helping him.
From movies to folklore to religious texts, one thing we know about spirits lingering is they usually don't understand or cannot accept what's happening to them, or they have some kind of unfinished business. It could be that Carter got shot for something he didn't do and doesn't understand why he died, that Sam went into a coma after his accident and died, and that Monica died due to some complications with her cosmetic surgical procedure that was totally unexpected. This implies we're in some Sixth Sense Bruce Willis type, meaning we either need to resolve each character's unfinished business or make them realize that they've died to help them move on. Monica doesn't like the idea of teaming up, thinking Carter's a criminal. In general, if for whatever reason someone is shot by the police and brought to a hospital for medical treatment, cuffing them might just be a procedure they follow. It could also be negligence, as the flashback does make it seem like Carter got dropped by a cop for no reason. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. What's worse, a random guy who may or may not have robbed a grocery store, or freaking undead supernatural bimbos, and a coma patient who's literally invincible. I'd say the more people we have on our team, the better. Even if for the sole purpose of having more bodies to sacrifice to make a quick getaway, should we get cornered. I'm really glad they all armed up immediately though. Even if I personally think there should have been a bit more long-range, close-range variety in their team, like I mentioned a moment ago. Going knife fighting with scalpels versus undead opponents who cannot die seems like a lose-lose-lose situation all around. At least something with a bit more range, or even a peasant spear made from scalpels, and any nearby broom in a supply closet might be an infinitely better idea here.
Hey, nobody's killing anyone.
Yeah. Nah, dude. Something tells me plenty of killing is about to go down. It just might not be you three doing the killing. And there you have it. For whatever reasons, even though Sam stressed earlier that elevators are bad ideas, they've gone there anyway instead of taking the stairs. Come to think of it, why is Sam making the decisions? He's literally the only one of you three that has literal brain damage due to a head injury. No he'd guide you back to the elevator in that case. He probably doesn't even remember telling Monica literally 2 minutes ago why that's a bad idea. In stereotypical fashion, they try to press the elevator button a million times, as if that'll make it show up any faster, just as the bimbos do some weird zombie crawl running toward them. They wisen up and decide to take the stairs, fully aware that until they figure out who the main character is, they don't know who the designated plot armor recipient is. They lock the door into the stairwell just in time, as Sam holds it, World War Z style, and tells the others to make a run downstairs. I still think upstairs first is worth it. It is significantly closer, and you have no idea what to expect on any lower level. At least from the rooftop level, you'll get a decent idea of what's down there. Sure, you'll have to fight through the bimbos once more, but now it's 3-on-3. Besides, if you have to take them on near the rooftop entrance, you can bait them into your murder hole, significantly improving your odds of at least seriously injuring or slowing them, long enough to make a clean getaway downstairs. Whatever, we're going down first now, but not before Sam again stares at the face of this woman, who clearly wants to rip his throat out, instead of immediately running downstairs. He's not even reinforcing the door. Run, you moron. I mean, I get the lady is drop dead gorgeous and all, even for an undead assassin, but she's not looking for a boyfriend here. And like you said, you're married, so do your wife a favor and live. As predicted, Sam falls behind the rest of his group and gets cut off, getting jump scared by a random demonic claw hand grabbing him, before Hodor appears out of nowhere and pins him to a nearby wall by the throat. Because he saw a fire at the bottom of the stairwell, he tells the orderly that there's a fire and they need to get away. But he tells Sam that Monica and Carter are not his friends.
Can't go down after them, or else you will be lost forever.
After delivering this ominous line, Hodor's face morphs into another faceless demon, like the medical staff did for Monica, before he's pimp-slapped to the floor by a mysterious doctor wielding a wrench, and Sam passes out. We get treated to the full story about what happened to Sam. As it turns out, he's a workaholic entrepreneur who got hit by a drunk driver. However, he was also on his phone at the time, texting and driving, which is dumb for obvious reasons as well. The mysterious doctor and a strange character in a wheelchair discuss Sam's fate next to his unconscious body, with the doctors wanting to take Sam downstairs because he's a selfish workaholic, which the man counters by saying he was hit by a drunk driver, which wasn't his fault, and that he should at least be allowed to decide. Right, so I'm definitely calling number 3 purgatory. Only it's not that we're already dead and need to right some wrongs. We need to find a way out of this hospital to regain consciousness in the real world. I'm guessing from this information, it means that if we go downstairs and exit via the lobby, we will move on and be dead for good instead. I'm not quite sure why this also comes with vicious attacks by demons though. Surely, if this is about understanding your sins, atoning for them, and deciding, aka fighting, whether you want to live or die, this would be the main challenge in itself, right? What happens when a genuinely innocent person appears there and these demons slash them to pieces? This just seems so random all around, especially since they just help out Sam right here as well, where you'd think with him being unconscious, it'd be very easy to just finish him off right there. Sam wakes up, once again treated for his wounds. The mysterious doctor even threw in some oxy for his troubles. I'm not sure I'd take those though, Sam. I think the last thing you need right now is to be high off your ass on painkillers. Though, I can definitely understand not wanting to face this bullshit entirely sober either. It is still the way to maximize our odds here for sure. As he gets dressed and mentally prepares himself for round 2, he realizes the good Lord above even left him a heavy wrench for maximum DPS, plus 5 holy damage on hit. He even pockets a secondary. Good boy. I gotta say, kinda like these protagonists a lot more than the usual kind we get to work with.
Drop the wrench.
Sam is suddenly held at gunpoint and drops his wrench. It's the cop who we saw shooting Carter earlier, Frank, asking him if he's one of them. This case is just getting weirder and weirder, as this also implies that somehow this cop ended up in a life-threatening situation in the hospital. Sam tells Frank there's some kind of fire, but as Frank rightfully points out, this is the kind of thing you'd know immediately if you looked out the window. We don't get a good view of what Sam sees, but it's just pure darkness. We cut back to Frank's incident. We don't really get an idea of whether or not he got injured, similar to the other characters, but we do see that Carter was in fact innocent. Our hero in blue literally held the wrong people at gunpoint while the cashier and Carter pointed out it was the other guy, an aisle over, that was holding up the place. Kudos for the cashier for cluing Frank in though.
That's why the hospital's empty.
Sam jumps to the conclusion it could be terrorists, and that the hospital runs on generators, which would explain why the outside is pitch black. Now, fine, I could understand that to some extent, but dude, you literally saw demons with no face, undead bimbos with surgical scars all over them, and you heard a similar story 3 times now. That suggests you guys all had some sort of death-like experience. At this point, you're just feeding the stereotype that spirits can't accept their death, because this definitely sounds like something supernatural to me.
Seriously?
Frank Houdini's out of there, which immediately puts Sam on high alert, as it should. He picks up his wrench and walks into the hallway, loudly announcing his position, and even completely turning his back on an empty hallway to pop more oxy for his pain. He hears the man from earlier, in the wheelchair, who introduces himself as Virgil. He tells Sam he's not going anywhere, and that he is real. Talking to Virgil for a minute, it's more than clear that he knows exactly what's up here, as he's not surprised by anything Sam tells him and seems more than fine with holding his own. Not to mention, he tells Sam that the doctor from earlier wanted to take him downstairs and that he would not let her, implying he has an immense amount of power here. The biggest missed opportunity in the movie, as you'll find out, is not asking Virgil as many questions as humanly possible. I'm talking full toddler mode. Why, etc. Till Virgil explodes. If he knows anything about this place, I'd want to know it too. He clearly wants Sam to go up to the roof, suggesting he may get cell reception there. I know I said earlier that this would make sense, but if he sees nothing but pitch black dark through the windows and nobody's getting cell reception inside the building itself, I doubt that's the reason Virgil wants us to go up. There was a fire downstairs and a demonic claw hand that grabbed Sam's hand in the stairwell. So if this is some kind of purgatory, I'm guessing that must have been hell, and heaven must therefore be what lies beyond the rooftop. Since Virgil's pushing us in that direction, and he appears calm amongst this madness, plus he seems to have some kind of authority over what happens to us, I'm guessing Virgil is some kind of angel. If you have the most enormous levels of nerd knowledge, you may know the name Virgil as a Roman-era poet, who was later honored in the famous Italian poet Dante's Divine Comedy as the character who guides people through purgatory and hell, which is likely what this is based off of. Virgil is therefore likely on our side. The fact that he told us our mysterious doctor wanted to take us downstairs means she is therefore probably not trustworthy.
There you are.
They run into the doctor that stitched us up, and she seems very concerned with our well-being right off the bat. She introduces herself as Lily, but explicitly mentions she does not wish to be called Lilith. Yep, that kinda settles it. You don't have to have deep levels of biblical knowledge or understand a word of Dante's poems to know Lilith is a figure commonly associated with hell. In ancient mythology, it is said she was Adam's first wife, but that she was banished from Eden and became the first female demon and witch. What's bizarre is they both seem to play along like they don't play major roles here, but maybe that'll at the very least provide us a certain degree of protection, since I highly doubt that they let us die now that they've taken an interest in us making our own choice.
No, shooting first.
They rightfully decide to focus on GTFOing instead of asking a million questions, with Lily still constantly pushing the idea of making it downstairs. Sam tells her the place was definitely on fire, to which she responds,
Then let's hope the elevator still works.
What? Literally every single emergency procedure dictates you should not use an elevator if you're aware of a fire going on in the building. I guess maybe if it's the fires of hell, we don't need to worry about the building slowly burning up though. Who knows? In any case, it definitely makes me twice as certain Lily isn't all that concerned with our good health as she let on. Only one problem though. They have to make it past Hodor. Yet even though he practically choked us out last time, we're going to try talking to him. Okay, or we pick up on Virgil's obvious clue and take the stairs up. But whatever. I bet Virgil and Lily are finding this hilarious. Sam approaches Hodor and actually asks him for help before spotting a ghost child who does some creepy magic causing a light to explode right above Sam's head, plunging him into darkness and getting him jump scared by it again before returning to the light. Hodor tells Sam that he shouldn't be with her before he pins him to a wall, and clear as day tells him that going downstairs will be his biggest regret. I get beating her since he clearly knows who she actually is, but why are you choking Sam out for a second time? It's not gonna make your point get across any better. How about, hey Sam, she is the devil's wife, and that man is a guide for dead people who want you to go to the light. The fire you see is probably hell, and your soul will be tormented there forever. Have a fantastic day.
You will regret. Let him go!
Virgil orders Hodor to drop his new toy and gets attacked for it, before reminding him to go upstairs. At this point, Hodor and Virgil are saying the same thing. They've both given you fairly obvious warnings about Lily. Go to the light, Sam. Sam tries to save Virgil, but they can't find him. Suddenly, all the lights around them start popping out as they rush to the elevator. Lily presses the button to go down, even though Sam disagrees, before Hodor blocks the elevator from going anywhere and grabs Lily. The elevator door closes with Sam stuck inside as it goes down. He makes it down to the lobby just as Saruman starts banging on the ceiling panel again.
You f***ed up once.
We cut back again to Sam being confronted by his wife about his unfaithful ways. He assures her that he's different now, and he's changed. Obviously, Lily doesn't think so, but it genuinely seems he's putting in the work for his wife and unborn child. This would explain why Virgil's vouching for him so hard. In the lobby, he runs into Monica again, who tells him there's no way out there. He gives her a very motivational speech about never giving up, and tells her it's all about just finding the lobby, before realizing he is in the lobby. All the windows and doors are covered by brick walls, meaning there's no way out through the lobby whatsoever. The elevator suddenly opens, with Hodor's head rolling out and Lily walking out victorious. Sam, how are you not getting it yet? Do you honestly believe this 7-foot, 250-pound giant, who probably used to wrestle patients in an asylum before he died, was taken out by this petite, 5'6", 150-pound woman with just a scalpel? Hodor warned you about her, told you not to go downstairs. Virgil told you not to go downstairs and that he would not let Lily take you downstairs either. She's bad news. The fact that she's so against you going to the roof makes this this all the more obvious. They all meet up with Frank, who's unable to break or even shoot out the windows with his Glock service pistol. They conclude that there is air coming through the bullet holes though. Carter comes running in at the sound of the gunshots and gets into a heated debate with Frank almost immediately about Frank's profiling. We see the second part of Carter Frank's flashback and figure out that Frank's misidentification of the target allowed the actual perp to get away with unloading a half a dozen shots into Frank, as well as the innocent lady he was standing next to. Carter bolted, though the threat was neutralized, and he 100% could have just stuck around and waited for help to arrive, and took several warning shots in the back for his attempt. There's a lot wrong with that, but that's not gonna help us here. We've got souls to save. They establish a temporary ceasefire and decide to work together. It is zombie apocalypse rules though. You need to drop all that before and work on survival as a team. Trying to make sense of it with a larger group of people this time, Sam again finds common ground between them, namely that they all received medical attention, therefore meds, meaning they might all be hallucinating from drugs.
Was I drugged too in this scenario?
Maybe.
Fair point, though Lily as a doctor would be unaffected in this case then.
One of us is having a hallucinogenic nightmare, and the rest of us are just figments of his or her imagination.
I love this chick, but it is honestly not that crazy. This could be one person's weird coma fever dream, especially given Sam took a heavy hit to the head. The biblical implications could just be a very vivid dream with a specific theme attached to it due to what was obviously on his mind when he went under the knife, namely whether he would live or die.
Or maybe we're all already dead.
Maybe. The supernatural bull happening here would definitely have me believing that, especially with all the biblical references we're encountering so far. It definitely makes the most sense to me, based on the points I made before.
Another racist pig with a gun!
The argument gets heated again, and Frank drops Carter with the headshot.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
It's hard to figure out what happens if you get killed here. If the basement is hell and the roof is heaven, what happens if you get domed in the lobby? Especially since we know now that Carter was actually innocent. Frank takes charge and herds everyone to the elevator at gunpoint. Lily again suggests taking the basement, because of course. Frank doesn't trust her, which is actually good judgment, but unfortunately, he combines it with the most smooth-brained tactical air, having his back to the closed elevator door. Well, that's what you get for popping Carter. Monica bolts in fear, and Lily tries really hard to keep Sam from following after her, but alas, this chat ain't simping for Lilith.
This must be.
That's what I'm saying. I like how they're all kind of coming to the same conclusion, but in spite of entertaining bullshit ideas like them being on the mother of all acid trips, and the non-stop biblical references, and their collective near-death experiences, nobody's yet to conclude the obvious here. Lily once again pushes them towards her basement idea, and they decide to go for it. We end up in the main hallway we initially started out in, which means we were initially in the lobby. Maybe which floor you're on dictates how bad of a person you are. Like, the closer to the lobby, the you are, and the more floors you need to climb up for deliverance. No? Okay, worth a shot. Monica correctly points out that Saruman is still a problem, but now they seem totally okay with taking him head on. Alright dude, whatever you say.
You know, too many of those pills can cause hallucinations.
Yeah, Dr. Lily, I don't think the oxy's what's killing people around me though. They press the button down to the basement, and they start walking towards the supposed parking garage Lily's leading them towards. Oh, and the morgue. Monica decides to wander in. I'm not sure what you stand to gain from this, but it leads to an development in the plot.
There's no incisions, no scars.
Monica checks out her physical enhancements in the mirror and notices that while they look better than ever, can't say I disagree, and that there's no scars. Yet another indication you are indeed likely in some kind of purgatory situation. Yet I'm sure they'll keep ignoring obvious signs of this. Somehow, Sam gets a dial tone on the phone in the morgue and manages to get through to 911, but of course, the line and eventually drops the call.
Sam?
All the bodies in the morgue sit up like they'd just been given a command by the Night King in Game of Thrones. It's the innocent girl and mugger from Carter Frank's flashback, as well as the drunk driver that hit Sam.
Whatever attacked me in that elevator is dead.
Frank suddenly shows up, claiming to have killed whatever grabbed him in the elevator. Clearly, killing it doesn't do shit, but okay, dude. He concludes something's because his earlier gunshot wound is now completely gone. The distrust against Lily is totally on point. It's a shame Frank's a piece of shit. Otherwise, he could have been very useful here. Not that it's gonna matter here in a second, as Lily's barely trying to hide it anymore.
And there it is.
If that's what's going on here, and this is the fire we saw earlier, we now have a mountain of evidence to suggest that this is especially since those bodies in the morgue were clearly relevant to our individual cases as well. At this point, Sam can't seriously be so naive anymore. Or maybe he's just under Lilith's charm. I don't even know. Frank decides to go for it. Monica wants to follow, but she's clearly hesitant, and so is Sam. What's funny to me here is that Frank clearly did not trust Lily, but he still walks towards literal fire in the direction the woman he does not trust is telling him is his way out. Sure, bro. After a lot of pushy behavior, Lily convinces Sam and Monica to follow Frank. Until Carter comes sprinting at Frank and gets payback for the headshot he had to take earlier. After delivering a couple of mini shanks, he fails to land the follow-through. They wind up wrestling for control of his service pistol. Carter does well, keeping all his attention focused on Frank's gun-wielding wrist, but he eventually loses control due to Frank's obvious physical advantage and police training. It takes a few more rounds to the abdomen and chest. Just as Frank's about to celebrate his victory, we hear a loud roar before Frank is yoinked into the flames, which I'm interpreting as him having committed so much sin at this point, he straight up earned his spot in hell. I couldn't agree more. Carter's body vanishes, just as the elevator starts moving towards them. Lily once again tries to persuade Sam to leave Monica, who's balled up in the corner, understandably overwhelmed by the situation, but he just won't budge.
The exit.
Finally, Lily's had enough of how hard Sam's making her work for it, and reveals her final form. But guess who's here to save the day?
They've got two ways.
Virgil reminds Sam he has two options. Sam tries to keep Monica going and reminds her not to give up. She apologizes for everything she's done to him and is dragged off to the flames of as well. No! Why'd they have to do my girl like that? I really liked her. She had a great personality. No, seriously, she was hilarious. R.I.P. Sam finally seems to get it and hops into the elevator with Virgil, going up this time as he was initially told. I guess Virgil finally got sick of Lilith playing for Hell's side rather than letting this be a truly neutral experience, so he decided to take matters into his own hands, as Sam's now proven to have his heart in the right place.
It isn't or heaven or anywhere in between.
We're in the same place.
As Sam starts to get discouraged from ending up in the same place again, Virgil reminds him it is the other elevator that leads to the roof. Come on, Sam. He's doing all the work for you at this point.
Let's get the here.
Attaboy. Sam hears the cries of a baby, which I guess insinuates that this also happens to babies, which sounds horrible. Sam suddenly sees an apparition of his wife with their newborn baby girl.
I've never left. Follow the signs. Or use your GPS.
His wife tells him to come back to his family and to follow the signs.
Who are you, Virgil?
Virgil finally comes clean about what this place is and explains that this is in fact something of purgatory or limbo, meaning this is where people go who are dead, but have not yet moved on to either end of the beyond. Virgil is a guide, and as is Lily, and as previously suggested, Virgil's more neutral, while Lily's obviously working for the bad guys. We relive all the scenes of our protagonists leading up to their near-death experiences, and see that Virgil and Lily have been there all along, playing their parts for both good and evil.
Let's try and get you out of here.
Sam now gets it. They start making their way to the north elevator to get to the roof.
That's not good.
Yup, Ghost girls with their backs towards us are major red flags. Virgil talks Sam into approaching her though, and honestly, I wholeheartedly expected a massive jump scare here, but instead, we get a wholesome moment.
Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. You're my only hope.
They all enter the elevator together, but unfortunately, Saruman isn't done with them yet. This time, he even makes it into the elevator and brutally attacks Sam. It's 3v1, but Virgil's wheelchair bound and the little girl is, well, a little girl. So realistically, this is 1v1. Sam tackles Saruman out of the elevator and brutally shanks him through the rib cage. He counts the little girl down and she bolts for the roof access. Just as he's debating to follow her, Saruman jumps on his back and returns the shank, launching them back into reality? He's fighting Saruman in the real world when Nurse Betty seemingly drags him back into purgatory, telling him there's no up or down, just purgatory, because he's on life support and comatose. In the real world, they're working to resuscitate Sam as he's experiencing cardiac arrest. We cut back to the earlier parts of the movie and notice that the light bulbs bursting around him earlier were actually sparks meant to represent the defib unit shocking his heart.
I'm the common man.
Finally, Sam gets it. Virgil slaps Nurse Betty with the wrench and gives Sam a helping hand in getting back to business. Now knowing the stakes, Sam rushes to the rooftop access and up the stairwell, only he's interrupted by the little girl.
Please help me.
He just can't bring himself to leave her, so he lifts her spirits and sends her up the stairs, one motivational speech at a time. Lily grabs him and once more tries to persuade him to go to the basement instead. Alright, lady, listen here. I said no many times. This sales pitch clearly ain't working, and I'm gonna need to air my grievances with your supervisor. I mean, at this point, whatever rules Lily and Virgil operate under as guides, certainly this level of interference in Sam's personal decision to live rather than die and go to hell must be a transgression of some level. Clearly, what this whole movie needs is just an HR meeting where Satan and Lily get chewed out by God and Virgil for trying to mess with free will.
Rage with me.
After a long, Palpatine-esque speech about how he should be mad about all the things he's lost, and how his hate could make him more powerful as they choose to rule together as succubus and tech entrepreneur. I guess. I don't know about you guys, but for a demon hailed as the literal most seductive entity ever to exist in Christian mythology, this is a garbage tier sales pitch. 0 out of 10. We see the others in real life being declared dead in the hospital, as Lily ensures Sam he is coming with her. Only... Hodor, MVP right there. As such, Sam is free to rush up to the rooftop access, where he finally sees light for the first time since this nightmare began. Realization sets in on Sam, as well as the audience of this movie who pretty much got their hearts torn out of their chest by this twist. The death is an inevitability here, and he only had a choice to make regarding heaven or hell. All of our characters died on their respective hospital beds, with no exceptions. You see the parents of the little girl in real life, mourning their dead daughter, and Sarah telling Sam bedside that he and their little girl will be okay. God damn, it's just onion cutting ninjas, man. Sarah tells Sam she loves him, which he receives as a text message in purgatory. He replies saying he loves her too. Back in real life, she receives the message, just as the movie ends. Imagine sliding into your wife's DMs from heaven. Just kidding, I'm gonna go tell my girlfriend I love her real quick and not cry like a bitch. Heartwarming, truly. We're never left to know if this means that there's an A chance that crossing onto the rooftop brings us back to life. But what's instead definitely implied here is that Sam was dead all along regardless, but that his actions got him into heaven rather than hell, which also unfortunately implies that a lot of undeserving souls burned up in for no reason, from Lily baiting them down into the basement. In the end, from our original group of wandering souls, only 2 made it to heaven. However, it is more than clear here that no matter which way this goes, you're still staying dead, even if you win. The only genuine win here, to begin with, is merely the salvation of your soul, not your life. For this reason, I think Disquiet remains unbeaten. Moral of the story, carpe diem, nerds.